So, um, I just got a notification that YouTube put an age restriction on my video, which, was just showing Cuban Dog in a bikini. But anyways, it is what it is. But anyways, man, today's video is about the New York Giants, and I only got week 3 to do, and then Saturday, either Saturday or Sunday, I'm gonna reveal everything, the New York Giants schedule and week 1 through 3 with the scores. But anyways, the problem with the New York Giants is that I don't have a problem with the players per se. It's just I don't trust this regime. I don't trust this ownership. I don't trust the GM. I don't trust the head coach. I don't trust the play calling. I don't trust the defensive coordinator. I don't trust the offensive coordinator. It's not the players. It's just what they have right now, right? Like, do you really trust Shane Bond? Do you really trust Mike Kafka? What happened to Brian Daboll calling the plays, right? Like, Giants fans get so excited every single year, and every single year it's the same bull crap. It's the same bull crap almost every single year. It's like waking up every Christmas, like waking up for Christmas every single December and expect the same gifts. A Bible, a toothbrush, and that's it. You know what I'm saying? So, like, until this regime is gone, then that's when I'll probably have a little bit more faith in the New York Giants moving forward. But for right now, I don't trust this regime, because obviously the players still have to go out there and execute on both sides, special teams, offense, defense. But if it's vanilla offense like it was last year, then I'm not gonna buy into it. You know what I'm saying? Now, when Brian Daboll was calling the plays last year, especially that Arizona game where actually they were down. I think they were down like 21-10 at halftime, and then he took the play calling over, and then you saw like a whole different offense. And then the next following week, they just went back to their vanilla offense again. You know what I'm saying? So, I believe if Brian Daboll is supposed to be calling the plays, which he's not, he's probably going to give he's probably going to give the keys back to Mike Kafka, because his job is on the line. Both of their jobs is on the line. You know? Like, don't you think if it's anything he wants to do the play calling for his quarterback? Because the quarterback can't just go out there and call his own plays. You know? He has to, read for one, he has to read the defense. For one, he has to get the plays from the OC. Now, if you're a vet, then yeah, you could say, I don't want to play, I don't want to call that. No, I don't want to, like you can have say on what you want to, play, But for the most part, you go out there and you execute that play. Now, if that play is covered, you go to the next progression. progression, and then you just go through your progression until you can find the right guy. Simple as that, right? Well, this 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 regime, because Brian Dable and Joe Shane has been together in Buffalo, right? Now, obviously, Joe Shane was in a different position in Buffalo. He was just scouting talent, while Brian Dable was the OC. Now that Brian Dable has switched from the OC to the head coach, and Joe Shane went from scouting to now being a general manager, you're putting two people that have never been in any of these positions before, and you expect them to succeed? No, they're gonna fail. You know, they only have one winning record so far in the last 6 years. Like, come on, man. I mean, how long did it take Tom Coughlin to win his first Super Bowl, to turn it around? He took over in 2004, 5, 6, 7. It took him 4 years. It took him 4 years. We still in the Brian and Joe Shane era, where they're entering their, 6th year together, 5th year together? Like, come on, like, what are we talking about? Like, Giants fans need to see through bullshit. Like, you can't expect everything to go your way. You can't expect that the Giants are gonna turn it around. You gotta know the history of the New York Giants. You know what I'm saying? The Giants was always built on defense. They was never built on offense. Like, that's why you see them struggle to score points. Even when they have all these great players, they still struggle to score points. Their defense, their DNA, their backbone comes from the defense. Always. When you think about the Crunch Bunch, when you think about Carson, Banks, Lawrence Taylor, you think about those guys. You don't think about the offense with Phil Simms and Otis Anderson. And we didn't even have a top receiver at the time. Probably Ingram. But the Giants was always built on defense. That's how they hang their hats on. That's how they, won their Super Bowls. Not saying that the offense didn't play a part. They did. But when the offense was on the field when the defense was on the field and the offense was on the sidelines, you got results. I think the Giants only had one bad defensive season. That was when in 2016, where they allowed the most points through the air, and obviously they fixed it up for the next following season, going out and spending $154 million on the defense, and it changed. It got better. They significantly got better. Won 12 games, lost 4, and obviously the defense couldn't hold no more, and they broke down. And we got blown out against the Packers. So if the Giants want to go back to their glory days, they need to go back to a 4-3 scheme. They cannot go to a 3-4 and expect different results. That was their bread and butter. That's how they won games. NASCAR package, 4-3 scheme. A 3-4 scheme only works if you have athletic linebackers, because you only rushing 3 when you play in a 3-4. You only rushing 3 D linemen, and you got 4 linebackers. Do we have linebackers like that? No. Brian Burns was a total pickup. Thibodeau, he hasn't really progressed. I mean, obviously, Oregon players are always failures when it comes to the NFL draft. You know, like name me one Oregon player that actually had a successful season or a successful career. Like, not that many. You know, but there was a lot of great Penn State players. You know, Cameron Wake. You know what I'm saying? Uh, Saquon Barkley, Michael Parsons, now Abdul Carter. You know, I think Atamba Ali from the Chiefs. I also believe he went to Penn State, so there have been some great Penn State players. You know what I'm saying? Um, Now, obviously, did all of them have success? No, because they was on you know pathetic teams. You know, but I do believe that Abdul Carter is going to struggle. I don't think everybody's lynching onto him like this next giant savior. You know what I'm saying? The simple fact that he had to ask players for their retired jerseys is kind of a turn let down. You know what I'm saying? Like you know, I mean, I don't know. I didn't know. I don't know if he knew that their jerseys was retired. You know what I'm saying? If you gotta ask, but don't make a big deal out of it. You know what I'm saying? Um, but I believe Phil Simms' family said no. The Klein League said no. Um, but Phil Simms was on the board of it. You know what I'm saying? Like he said that okay, go out there and make my number proud. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not gonna, it's just sitting there collecting dust. It's not. You know, like I don't know why they retire jerseys and unretire them. Like that's stupid. That's to me it's stupid because if you're going to retire your jersey, that jersey should retire for for decades and decades and decades, never to be touched. That's why you retire a jersey, so nobody can wear it. Nobody can ever wear it. I don't care if he's the first pick. I don't care if he's can't miss prospect. I don't care. You do not unretire jerseys after you retire them. You know, like Malik Neighbors, asking to wear number one because obviously Daniel Jones was wearing number 8 at the time. Find some other jerseys. Hell, you could have used Steve Smith jersey number 12. You could have used Mario Manningham jersey number 82. You could have used Hakeem Nicks number 88. But you chose the route to tell a family to unretire your jersey after it's been retired for what 40, 50 years. Like, anyways, man, I just don't trust this regime. And Giants fans need to wake up, smell the coffee. Okay, this season will go as like this season will go according to plan. Like for me, I I never I never have high expectations on the Giants. I don't. Ever since I was a ever since I started being a Giants fan around 2004, I've never had high expectations for them because you don't put expectations on things that you know that's not going to deliver. Like every time the Giants have high expectations, they don't do well. They rather be in the underdog boat. Like nobody's picking them, everybody's rooting against them, and that's when they actually play their best. But when you put all that pressure and well, I'm not gonna say pressure, but when you put all that high expectations on them, they fold. Just like how the Cowboys always consistently being that team where they put high expectations on them and they failed every single year. Like maybe the Giants are better suited as an underdog than favorites, because the underdogs will always prevail while the favorites lose, you know. Like, look how many 15-1 teams they were. Hell, even the Patriots, the undefeated season, they were highly favorites. Like 99% picked the Patriots to win that 42 Super Bowl. I mean, Super Bowl 42. And behold, the Giants were underdogs. Nobody was picking the Giants. Probably like 2% of the country picked the Giants, while 99% picked the Patriots. Because they've been in it before. You know, they have the coach, they have the quarterback, they have the receivers, they have the defense. Like, this team couldn't be beaten, and they was trying to do something that the Dolphins done in the 1972 season. You know, where they went undefeated in preseason, undefeated in the regular season, but failed to capture a Super Bowl. So they was trying to do something that had been done before. So when you put expectations on things, don't expect different results. You know, don't expect the same results. You know. So, like I said, I like this team on paper, but I just don't trust regime. So, Brian Dable, Joe Schoen, you're on the clock. If you do not improve this year, y'all both gone. And it's sad because obviously we still don't know if Darts is the guy unless we play him. When? I don't know. We all know Russell Wilson's going to be the starting quarterback. If he gets hurt, which I do not believe he's going to get hurt, we won't see Darts. But if he does somehow get hurt, then we're going to see Darts. The fans are going to thrash Brian Dable. Like, let's say hypothetically we lose the first 3 games, right? We lose against Washington, lose against Dallas, who has a rookie head coach, and we all know how rookie head coaches are, right? Like when I remember when we had Pat Shurmur, we won our first game with him. So rookie head coaches tend to get the slightest slap on the back, you know what I'm saying? So let's say hypothetically we go 0-3. We lose against Washington, we lose against Dallas, we lose against KC. You're gonna hear the media and the fan base say, when you go production, when you go to production, when you go to production, when you go to production. You know what I'm saying? Every single game that they lose, when you go to production, when you go to production, when you go to production. Like, dude, we're 1-5. Like, I'm not gonna put a rookie quarterback in just to save my arse. You know what I'm saying? Well, you ain't gonna have no choice. I mean, you drafted him, you traded up to draft him, so you might as well play him. I mean, sure. I mean, because you don't know if you're gonna be here next year, and that's the thing. Like, Giants fans think that once you draft a quarterback and you're in a hot seat, that's gonna buy you another year because you haven't had your quarterback, which is true. But how long have the Giants been patient? The Giants are a very patient organization. They really are. You know, I mean, look how long we kept Jerry Reese. You know, I mean, he had some suspect draft picks, but he did hit on those 2 that we won the Super Bowl. You know, Brian Dable and Joe Schoen have not had successful draft picks at all. So like I was saying, if we go 1-4 or 1-3, let's say we do beat the Chargers and we do beat the Saints, we're probably sitting at 2-5, somewhere around those lines. Um, they're gonna start chanting, "We want darts. We want darts." We've seen enough of Wilson. He's not it. He's washed. He said all that and baloney just to make the Giants feel better. And I always said that Russell Wilson would make a great car salesman because he will feed you a lot of bull crap that you don't want to hear. You know what I'm saying? Like how you go to the car lot and you have that one person that'll tell you a whole bunch of crap about the car just to sell it. That will be Russell Wilson. Like I believe if he wasn't a football player, he'll make a great car salesman because he'll talk your ear off. He'll be like another Joe Judge. Like he said all the right things, but terrible head coach. Uh, so we will see darts. Time will tell. It depends on how we win these games. We win or lose these games. Now I do believe the Giants' defense will improve. We were number one in sacks last year. I don't think that's going to happen again. And I don't think the Giants' defense is close to being good because they still have to play together, and that's another thing Giants fans have to understand. Just because you have all these nice toys in free agency and the draft, you still have to play together. And it's going to be a match and match because they're not all going to be in the field at the same time. Like you might play like a first good quarter, and then after that the backups are going to come. And it's going to be doing that every single game from week 1 all the way to week 3. They're going to do. They're going to. They're going to be, switching. So now all the starters are going to play together. The starters might play with the backups might play with the starters to match and match, and that's how they do in practice. You know what I'm saying? Just to get the feeling of the intensity of the game. You know what I'm saying? I don't think the Giants' defense is gonna be this, 2007, 2011 defense. You know what I'm saying? But I do believe that they will be somewhat productive. Now on the offensive side, we're still having problems. We don't know who our running back is. Week 1, starter, backup. Like who's going to be our like? Do we have a good receiving corps? Do we have a good tight end? So all these things are going to be questioned in the preseason. Whether we do bad, whether we go 0-3, whether we go 1-3, whether we go 1-2 or 1-3, it depends. You know what I'm saying? We could go 2-2. So, but it depends. It depends. You know, but like I said, once you put expectations on a team, they tend not to do well. Like I want Giants fans to go into the season with zero expectations. Zero expectations. And you'll see how this team flourish. Because Giants read and react to your body of language. Like damn, we have to freaking go out there and produce, and if we don't produce, they'll bash us, and like this world is different, this world is different. But anyways, man, let me know what y'all think. Will the Giants have a successful season this year, or will will they be picking top five next year, or will we have a new head coach and GM next year? Let me know in the comment section down below. On the road to 19K.